Welcome to another episode of Pods and Pies. Today's episode is brought to you by
The Pie Pizzeria,
South Jordan.
And we say this every podcast, but all we want is one sponsor, just one pizza place. I don't even care if it's Little Caesars. We just get one free pizza a week. That's all we need.
That's all we want.
We
have mushrooms and chicken.
Yes.
By request.
By request, yeah.
From the queen bee herself.
Oh, it looks like
Elisa
it has
Garn.
Is that garlic?
There's garlic.
Oh,
That's a
buddy.
full clove. Jeez.
Oh,
Man.
I might have to pick that one off, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a good thing we're
that's some
social
serious-
distancing right now.
yeah, right?
that's some serious stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're roughly 6 feet
so.
apart.
Dig in.
Yeah.
Doing our.
All right.
So
Thank you.
don't be afraid to take a bite during. Everybody
You know
always
I'm not
is.
shy.
Okay, good.
Well, it helps. The problem that we probably run into, and we say this again every time, the guests always talk so much. And it's because we're asking a lot of questions. So it is hard to eat. So we encourage you to take bites, eat your pizza.
Yes.
Starting now.
But
Okay.
it's just,
Take one.
and the nice thing is Danny and I, we can down like 4 pieces each. Yeah, because we just listen to the
easy.
the
I need
wonderful
a
guests.
fork to
Interesting
stake my
conversation.
territory.
We can eat food.
Awesome.
Elisa Garn, thank you.
Thank you for the invite. I'm so happy to see you guys.
It's great to see
Yes.
you. It's been forever.
I know.
First question. If you could throw a party with 3 to 5 historical figures that are dead, who would you invite?
Are they the only people showing up?
No. There's gonna be other people, but you
Oh.
get a hand pick.
Okay, I'm curating
Everybody's
my
coming to your
guest
party
list.
because of these people that you get to bring.
Not because of me. Okay.
Well, because you get to pick them. It's really because of you, but
All right. Let's see. Okay. I think it would be really fascinating to have Gandhi. Is he dead?
Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gandhi's Gonzo.
He is. Maybe we should start. We'll change his name. We'll start calling him Gonzo instead of Gandhi.
Gone.
Gone.
Dizo.
He's gone.
Gonzo.
Okay, but here's the reason though. Not because like he's been this super motivational impact on my life. I just think it would be really fun to see him party it up. Like I want to see him in a toga, chugging beers, hanging
Doing his
out with all of
thing.
his buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I like that.
I think it'd be cool. I like to see people out of their element. I do think that he would be pretty inspirational and fun to talk to though.
Yeah.
Just like pick his brain. Let's see, other dead people.
Dead people.
Man, okay, this I'm gonna count 2 for 1 on this one.
Okay.
My grandparents, because I never met them, so I don't
Okay.
know them.
That's a story.
And I think that would be my parents divorced when I was pretty young, so I don't, I don't really have close relationships with my extended family anyway. But my grandma passed away from an aneurysm when she was like 60, and then my grandfather passed away from a heart attack when he was 58. So I never knew them.
Super young. Never knew him.
Yeah, like connection to your past, and I think as you get older, it's really natural to start to look for those, what is the meaning of things and where did I come from, and just try to find a sense of purpose. And I think the best way to do that is through your ancestors. So I think it would be really fun to have my grandparents. They probably would not be drinking with me at this party, but
You never know.
you never know.
You never know.
I didn't know them, so maybe they
would.
yeah, maybe they were smokers. I don't know.
I like it.
So I'm counting those 2 for 1. And then, man, I guess probably Jesus, just because I have a lot of questions for that dude, right? Like,
Dude, for real.
tell me
Exactly.
the truth here.
Well, hold on
Oh,
though.
that's an
you
amazing
might,
answer.
You might need to have this. You might need to clarify. Maybe not a party. Maybe because Jesus,
think he and
Jesus
Gandhi,
would be
though-
amazing, but you can't be distracted. You'd have to say like, I need like 8 hours of your time.
True. How long is the party? I mean, is this like a
That's
full
true.
like weekend
Maybe you get
rager?
everybody else drunk, and then you and Jesus go off.
Well,
and
think
you
about
have
it
a
this way, too.
conversation, and you can ask him all the questions.
The only thing you have to provide is water.
Yeah.
And 1 loaf of bread and 1 fish. And
Your party's
then
taken care of.
we
That's
are-
a great answer.
Yeah. No one bring any food. Food's covered.
Food is
Yes.
taken
Food
care
is
of.
covered.
I'm inviting Jesus to the party as the caterer, apparently.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's terrible.
Dude,
but I really do
that's
think
that is an amazing choice.
I should probably clear. I'm talking about Jesus Christ, like just in
Yes.
case there was.
Not
I've known a couple of Jesuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're probably still alive, though.
The major historical figure of our time. One of them is.
Yeah, because isn't it interesting? Like, I think it would be really cool to just compare, what did you really mean by this? And how did this actually happen? And, like, I consider myself agnostic.
Yeah, because you're going to say, hey, did you know that how they wrote that story was this? And he's going to say,
it's not how that happened.
He's like, no, that didn't happen. No, or he's going to say, like, that absolutely happened, but it was even better than that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
So they're missing some great details here.
He's going to realize that he hired the wrong ghostwriter.
Yeah, he's like, no, I had a handful of these writers.
Do you know that's a show on Apple TV?
What?
Ghostwriter?
So like.
Do you remember that show? Yeah, but they brought it back. It's a new one.
Oh, I did not know that they
Apple TV.
that.
Started watching with my kids yesterday.
Well, I don't have Apple TV. But
anyway,
that sounds like I'm
Side
gonna have
note.
to illegally download that. I mean, legally download that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, just get access. Someone will give you access. They're logging.
Now I'm really excited for this party.
Could happen. Tell us what's new with you.
Okay.
Tell us what you're doing.
I did just take a bite. So.
Perfect.
I have been in HR for 15 years, and doing HR as a female in an executive capacity in Utah is tricky. It's really, really difficult. It's not impossible, and I have a lot of great friends that are managing that really well, but I don't think that I'm the best fit for HR leadership in Utah as it is today. So I think I'm better served advocating for how to be strategic and modern and progressive in the profession and help connect language between the C-suite and HR. I think that's a better fit for me. So I pivoted at the beginning of the year, and this was actually a really fun story. So I had a job that I was supposed to start with a startup tech company that ended up fizzling out. And so I found myself looking for a job, which is the first time I've found myself looking for a job for a while. I applied to 2 positions, and it sucked. I was like, this is the worst. Applying for jobs is the worst thing ever, because I'm like looking at my resume. I mean, there's no way that this is compelling. I didn't go to college. I didn't get a degree. I don't stand out as a candidate at all. And I know that I sell myself better in person than I do on paper. So I decided that I was going to invite companies to hire me instead of applying to their jobs.
Via LinkedIn.
Via LinkedIn.
Yes.
So it was a little bit of an experiment, and it ended up being kind of a fun experience because I, for one, very quickly identified my worth as far as how my network perceived me. And I also got to explore job opportunities that I never in a million years would have applied to, but were interesting.
Can I have you back up real quick?
Yeah.
You said you don't have a degree.
Correct.
You didn't go to college.
I did go to beauty school.
You went to beauty school.
I
Okay,
dropped
so
out.
hold on.
I'm a beauty school
Because the thing
dropout.
is, like, we know
Greece.
you've helped. We've known each other for a long time, and I mean, you've helped us. I mean, you're such an advocate for cool companies and rock stars like us. You know, I mean, let's say. But you've excelled. I mean, you're a leader when it comes to Utah HR. I mean, there's other people, but I mean, you're a name that is always talked about. It just briefly maybe explain in your words. I mean, how in the hell do you go from no degree to like an absolute leader and a professional in HR? Because that just seems like, I mean, people get degrees, they go to school, and then some people do obviously find like, oh, they just are funneled into HR, or they just happen to just go into HR and then they like it and they stay.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
I mean,
But still,
everybody knows you.
I didn't know that. That just kind of threw me out. I think that's an interesting.
I look back at my rationale was, I grew up raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and my whole take on what I wanted for my life was to be a homemaker and raise children and be a cute little crafty mama that loved scrapbooking. I wanted to raise kids. Like, I wanted this huge family, and had a moment, like that changed at some point in my 20s. So going into my adulthood thinking that was what my path, I was like, I'm not going to go to college. That's a waste of $30,000. But in retrospect, I don't regret it, but I do think that I could have, I for sure would have taken a different path, I think, than where I ended up. I don't think I would have ended up in HR, because you're right, to your point, most people, more than 60% of HR professionals fall into it. They were in accounting, or they were an executive assistant or an office manager, and then they just eventually became HR people. So mine was, I wanted a free ski pass, and they were hiring for a seasonal HR person up at Snow Basin.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that sounds like a fun way to spend a winter while I figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And I had a mentor that sort of pulled me into it and said, no, you'd be really great in HR. And I was like, no, HR sucks. I don't want to be the principal's office. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But over time, like, I think, first of all, he really sat down with me and helped, or more specifically, identified very particular skill sets. Like, nobody had ever paid attention to me like that before. Definitely.
Can you say
not
who this is?
Yeah, Randy Neitzel.
Okay.
He
Was he
is
at
the-
Snow Basin? What does he
We
do?
work together at Snow Basin.
Okay.
He's now the head of HR for all the properties at Glacier National Park, which is
Oh,
Okay.
my gosh.
my new favorite national park.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. And we've stayed in touch like all through the years. We get together about once or twice a year and just catch up. And I still have so much respect and admiration for him because he was my first mentor. So the fact that he took me and sat me down, gave me very specific, like, you would be good in HR because of these skill sets you have, not because you're great at filing paperwork and you understand benefits. And no, it's like more, you understand how to read people, you know how to connect people, and those type of traits I'd never really seen in myself. And this is my early 20s where you're still figuring out life at that point. And so, falling into it there, I still enjoyed the administrative part of HR. I call it traffic cop HR, reactive, blowing my whistle, knowing all the details of what's happening in the city. But yeah, it was like not getting the degree, I think, to your original question of like, how do you grow a career when you don't have that linear path? It's hard for me to answer because I don't see myself. Like, I know that I have a lot of connections and I've met so many great people, but I don't consider myself super important or popular. I think it's
The quality of a good leader.
well, I hope that's humility. Maybe it's just blindness. I don't know. The thing that I've noticed about people that reach out to me and ask for advice or want to connect with me, first of all, everyone wants to feel seen and important and that they matter. I think that's something that I'm good at. I don't do it from something is in this for me kind of way. I genuinely love getting to know people and learning everyone's story, and then like collecting those stories and putting them in like labeled jars that go up in this inventory of people that I keep in my brain. The ability to connect those people to either other individuals or companies or solutions or ideas is, I think, really like the social capital that I've been able to grow my career and influence is just through people. I'm not the best at execution of HR. Like, I don't know all the answers, and I hate compliance, and even employee relations is super taxing and a drain on my my brain and psyche. But I love making people feel like they matter, and that is what HR really should be doing. Like everything else is kind of this ancillary, it has to happen, and we got to make sure that we are keeping the company from getting sued and that people's benefits are taken care of and, everybody's compliant. It's not that that's not important, but there's a higher level of calling of the HR profession, which is if you're not invested in creating the work environment to be the most impactful from the individual personalized lens, that's modern HR. Like, if you're not doing that, you're going to be out of a job in a few years, because that's ultimately the way that the world is heading, and businesses that don't adapt to that still have more of a transactional mindset of, we're exchanging time for money. You come in and I give you a paycheck and that's enough. Those companies are still around, but they're probably not going to be in the next 1 to 2 decades. So knowing how that's progressing, this HR people focus and emphasis in the business, if they're not also adapting to that change in what's happening just in the world and in our economies, first of all, it's a tragedy. But secondly, they're going to find themselves out of work pretty quickly. Difficult to find another job when that company eventually goes out of business.
Do you think that role should be separate from, because generally, right, let's say you have a HR director. That person is handling, like you just talked about, right, compliance and benefits. Do you think that those should be separated? Have somebody who is the main focus of the people, and then you have your Ben admin person and your payroll person.
I don't know if you were like just softballing me these questions, but I wrote an article about this in Forbes. And
I
it was
am not softballing you these questions. This is a
Oh.
fastball coming at you.
Woo! I wasn't prepared for this at all. So for a long time, I've tried to create common language for C-suite and HR to better understand. They want the same things, right? And I get asked questions a lot of, most HR people do. Well, when do I need HR? And how many should I have per 100 employees? That's a really, really common question. And traditionally, it's you should have one HR person for every 100 employees in your company. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think that you should base it based on what are the objectives of your company. So I have these personas that I've built out for HR people and the needs of the company. I mentioned earlier this traffic cop persona. Traffic cop HR is what most executives look to hire first and foremost. They're getting too big, their accountant can no longer manage payroll and, administer benefits, and they need somebody to write a handbook. And so they're like, okay, well, I learned about this in business school. It seems like that's HR, so I need an HR person. So they look for an HR generalist or an HR manager. And this is, again, a very transactional, reactive role inside the organization. So if you think about it like a physical traffic cop that's standing in the middle of the intersection, blowing their whistle, telling people which direction to go, they're in the thick of the drama, but they have no ability to be proactive because they're hyper-focused on what's happening to them. The advantage to these people is they tend to be very linear in thought, and where they find the most value is keeping people safe, which is through compliance and regulation and policy. And there can be a lot of benefit to that for a company that is scaling, because you do need those practices and policies in place to be able to replicate as you continue to scale. However, the downside to these people is they're not always going to be the best at these other parts of HR that are starting to be more valued by companies. So you have city planner HR people. These are usually individuals that serve at an executive level, like a CFO, a CHRO, possibly a director, but their role is more, they sit up above in their high rise, they look down on the city, and they're focused on infrastructure. Where are we going to grow? How can I align the people part of the business with where we're headed? What's our exit strategy? Those type of questions, but they're very disconnected from the day-to-day. So they don't necessarily know what's happening within the city at any given time, but they're really good at pulling things apart, seeing all of the pieces and how they need to be put back together in order to help a company grow and achieve its long-term goals. So they're very strategic. These are like organizational development design people. And again, they understand more of like the business acumen side of the business. For a long time, these were the only two personas I talked about in HR because it was usually like you're reactive or you're strategic. But then when I got in my last executive HR role with a travel management company, I was like, I'm neither of these. There's got to be another one. And so I introduced the mayor. And the mayor persona, there's a little bit of a caveat here. Like, I understand that politics are yucky and most politicians are highly corrupt. So let's just assume for the sake of this analogy that they're on the up and up. So mayors, they love, love, love representing their constituents. They like to be out shaking hands and kissing babies, and they usually have a really good PR skill set, so they can go out and communicate on behalf of the company. They get other people excited. They love to talk about the brand or the city. So their ability to sell an organization is a lot more clear, but they have to be able to speak the language of representing the community that they're living in, working in, and connect that to the city planners and those officials that have ultimately like the budget and buying power of how things operate within the city. So it's sort of this blended role that I see more and more companies going after. Like, we want to be an employer of choice. We want to have an amazing culture. We want people that want to come work here because we take care of people, and by proxy, they're going to be more productive because they're more fulfilled. Here's the stick or the rub. Most executives that I talk to, when I give this analogy, they expect one HR person to do all three. They're like, well, I want all three of those.
Yeah.
First of all, different skill sets. But secondly, like, it's impossible to have somebody that is reactive, taking care of needs that are coming at them, and give them the time and attention to be able to pull things apart and be strategic.
Yeah, this is like superhero. This is like a metahuman. I mean, you can't have three personalities that perform on a high level in
right.
one. Yeah, just that. It's funny.
Yeah. So back to your
Hello.
question, Danny, is like, I think that what businesses need to look at is based on the needs of the organization. Sometimes your first HR hire needs to be a mayor. Sometimes it needs to be city planner. I think you guys had Christine on recently. Zoric? Yeah?
Nope.
Oh,
Not
What's
yet.
your last name?
Christine?
Not
I
yet.
swear you did.
No.
Okay. Well, if you haven't, have her.
We will.
She is.
Where's she at? Where's she at?
She's
doing her own
consulting
thing.
now. Yeah, White Label Advisors.
Okay.
She's
Yep.
awesome. I really, really respect her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So her, when I look at her, I see her as a highly, highly competent city planner. And if I ever talk to somebody that is looking for, we need somebody that can come in. We don't need maybe a full CHRO or a CPO, but we need somebody that can come and help us build infrastructure and like tear things apart. She's amazing at that. But, there's other people that I know in my network like Carl Sokia. That guy is like, he probably is the best blend of a city planner and a mayor that I've ever worked with. I mean, that guy is like, first of all, his whole Aloha thing and like just how amazing he makes you feel being around him for 10 seconds. He is so smart on the business side
Love
of things. Yeah, he's amazing. And I know I'm giving shout outs to some of my favorites, but when you give me a microphone, that's what I'll do. Having said that, I have served all three of these roles at different points in my career. I would never want to be a traffic cop at this point. But it doesn't mean that they don't still provide value for organizations that need that particular skill set based on what's happening in the business. I don't know if that
Makes
answers
sense.
your
Yeah,
question.
no.
That
I love
was like
it.
a really
That's a great,
long way.
No, that's
When-
great. It's amazing.
When did you start having these thoughts? Well, I just mean because you started, take a bite. You started at Snow Basin. Like at that point, did you know after your mentor was like, hey, I think you should be in HR because of A, B, and C? Were you like, okay, I'm going to stick in HR? Like when, I guess my first question is, when did you decide, yes, I'm going to stick in HR? And then follow-up question is, when did you start having these thoughts of, I don't want to be this compliance person, I don't want to be the mayor? And like, how did you start splitting these apart and having these thoughts?
I think what pulled me into a career in HR was my seasonal job became a year-round job. And I had a mentor that was there for me, that helped me grow into it. So it was pretty early. I was 19 or 20 at the time, maybe a little bit older than that. But this whole transition of thought of like, man, HR kind of sucks right now. It's really, I'd say it's when I went into sales. So I worked for a recruiting firm for about 4 years, and I was still very closely tied to the HR profession because that's all I did was direct hire placements for HR in Utah. So I got very, very familiar with not only the geography differences of HR here versus some of the more global, larger markets, but also it became very, very clear to me this disconnect that I'm talking about, like the disconnect between what executives are talking about and what they expect and HR's language that they use and their ability to deliver on that. I would have HR people come into me almost on the verge of tears, just begging for, I just want a strategic role. I just want to have that seat at the table. I just want to be taken seriously and break through this glass ceiling that I've experienced in my career. I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm not taken seriously. And at the time I could commiserate. I'm like, I know, it sucks, doesn't it? That's my story too. It's our own freaking fault. It's because we don't take the time. Maybe it's not the time. Maybe it's just a disconnect of understanding to know that CEOs are from Venus or Mars, whatever, and HR is from Pluto. And what happens is we expect the CEO to get in their spaceship from Venus or Mars or wherever and take that journey all the way to Pluto, which we don't even know is a planet anymore. I guess it's a moon now. And we want them to speak Plutosian. And they come there and we try to introduce them to the things that we care about and what matters to us because we know that they're visiting our planet or moon for exploration and they're depending on us for something. They want an experience out of it. So instead of personalizing the needs that they have and articulating in their language, we want them to come to us. It's like if I were to go to Spain, for example, as an American who speaks very little Spanish, un poquito, and I expected everybody in Spain to speak English to me because that's the language I speak. I mean, that's very arrogant, first of all, but I'm probably not going to get very far if I'm visiting another country and expecting them to know my dialect and my customs and my, my lens, right? And I think that's where HR gets hung up is we finally have that audience with the C-suite and we get the proverbial seat at the table, which I hate that analogy. And then what ends up happening is we don't show up the same way as the rest of the C-suite. And so we stay in the room, but we get pushed under the table because we have not proven that we deserve to be in that room. However, they need their female executive for diversity numbers, and so we get to stay. That's really mean, but it's true. So that trying to educate HR professionals on that point, that you need to learn how to speak Venusian or Martian or whatever. Go to their planet, learn their customs, learn their languages. And then when you invite them to your planet, speak in their dialect. Help them understand through their lens what you're trying to do. Like, I can't even tell you how many HR people I hear about trying to introduce wellness programs that go in talking about how great this plan's going to be, and it's going to make all the employees happy, and we're going to do a 5K, and it's going to be amazing, and everyone's going to get fit and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. The CEOs don't give a shit about that. They don't care. What they do care about is if that HR person goes in and says, hey, our experience numbers are looking out of control. We're looking at an 18% increase on our new plan year. And there's one way that we've identified that we can try to get this under control. It is going to cost X amount, but the projection of what we're going to save, it's going to take some time, but 18-month projection is we're going to save, this percent. So in the long run, this is actually a really good business decision. And then you go into the details of so we have some options here, A, B, C. I recommend B because of blah, blah, blah. That's an HR advisor consultancy. That's not, I want to do this because it's the right thing to do and it's going to make employees happy. That's going to get you a seat under the table, not at the table.
Because you're not speaking their language.
Right. Yeah. You gave me caffeine, so I just want to point out that I talk a lot more and a lot faster when I have caffeine.
How many milligrams of caffeine does it take for you to get crazy?
Apparently, whatever that is, that looks that looks about 4
10.
ounces.
Dude, I'm already
Maybe.
250 in for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm tired.
Plus, you got me talking about obviously my passion.
I'm ready for a nap
you
right
combine
now.
those two things, so you're not going to get a word in edgewise.
Well,
That's less pizza for
make
you.
a note, dude. 10 is like
True.
a limit.
Yeah.
My limit's like 600 for the day. If I'm about 600, I know I've pushed it.
You've
I love
just been
caffeine,
sleepwalking.
dude.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the best legal stimulant I've found so far.
I know. I can't wait till we can smoke marijuana, smoke weed and marijuana. And
I can't smoke.
what else? What else would be great to just consume that we can't?
Well, you did ask
Definitely
what I'm doing
weed.
now. I'm doing branding now.
What's that?
Yes, strategic
So
branding.
I didn't want to work
Hold
in
on,
HR
branding.
anymore. Yeah. My title, this is really funny because I hate the term thought leader.
Thought leader. Yeah. Who makes up these weird things like
Here's
that?
the thing. If you
Who's
come
a
to call
thought
yourself
leader?
a thought leader, you're probably not a thought leader, right?
It sounds.
I think you should put that on your business, like your card.
Yeah. Not a
I don't know
thought
anybody
leader.
who can be taken serious.
No,
if
I
the
think you
title
should
was
put
thought leader.
thought leader. Just
That's
Elisa
my
Garn.
title. My title
No.
is VP of Thought Leadership
Well, hold on.
and
I'm sorry.
Brand
If I just
brand
offended
marketing.
you or somebody else,
Leadership.
I don't have. What? Who came up with that?
Ooh,
Did you?
Please
did
try
you,
to offend me.
Did you come up? Did you make your own title? Okay.
It took us a long time to figure it out because this is a new role for my company. So technically, I guess Danny and I are competitors, but we love each other, so it's all good.
You lead everybody in thoughts, but you don't tell us what you think. But you lead everybody in thought.
Yes, I bring other people along
dude,
for my
your
thought
thoughts-
journeys.
I think so much. I think more than you. I'm a leader. Sorry.
You know what?
Sorry.
Okay, here's the thing about thought leadership. I put that in quotes because it's kind of a yucky term. There is a true thing. It does exist. If you have a person or a concept or an idea that is very innovative and looking to the future based on the information that's available today and making very informed and intellectual projections, that's effective thought leadership. But I think thought leadership, the way that it's turned into this bastardized yucky thing, is people have used that title to make themselves sound like, I am the innovator of the future and you should listen to all the things I say and you should buy my books and you should come to my consulting
A
things.
little bit holier than thou.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Like I've been around the block.
Yeah,
Step in line, follow me, and I'll show you where to go.
exactly.
So I think that it has, kind of a negative connotation now. But what it is is really impactful. And I love following those people, but the people that truly are thought leaders do not use that title. So with all of that said, my title presently is VP of Thought Leadership and Brand Marketing.
That's great. I love it. I love it.
But it's actually a pretty interesting pivot. You know, I'd mentioned that whole thing that I did at the beginning of the year and allowing companies to apply to hire me. This was not one that I had intentionally applied for, but it was a really cool transition, I guess, into still being able to connect to my HR community, which I love HR people. They are my people, and I don't want to lose that network, but be able to advocate on behalf of, you know, like the unseen, really. Like I love meeting with executives and having this conversation because typically they'll take the meeting not knowing I'm an HR person, and then I get to come in and blindside them on, you really need to value HR inside your organizations. But at the same time, I'm also going to these HR people and helping educate them to connect the dots on how, if you want to be strategic, if you want to elevate your role, these are some ways that you need to do it. So providing context instead of just being that loud-mouthed, bratty person in the back of the room that says, we want our seat and we deserve all these things. That's bullshit. You have to be able to earn your seat, but I can't be the one telling them they're doing it wrong without providing a conduit of knowledge and resources of how you do that. Meanwhile, I'm also helping this company build out their branding. You know, they've been a key player in this market for a long time, but they've never really had a traditional brand and marketing strategy. So helping them with that of like, you know, let's define our values and let's define our brand essence and let's help our clients know what our purpose is and our why, and align that with our customers' why, to tell a better story of why they would want to do business with us. It's essentially what I've been doing in HR. It's just with a customer focus instead of an employee focus.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, I don't know, it's made up and I'm figuring it out every day, but I love it.
Dude, it's so good.
It's really
so
cool.
when you put your info out on LinkedIn and said, hey, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah.
This role did not exist.
Mm-mm.
They just said, here's a role that we think, or did you, I mean, when they reached out and said, we want to talk.
Well, don't you
like, how do you know that this is going to be, I mean, did they say we have this role that we think would be good, or you'd approach them and said, I think I could do this for you? Like, how did that
I
happen?
did not approach them.
Do you think there's an aspect though that once if anybody in the organization or they look at the people you know and the reputation you have, it's more like, okay, we need her. How do we utilize this to our advantage? Like, it would be amazing to have this person. Let's bring him in and let's not make up something, because that doesn't sound right, but it's more just like, we need, I don't know, let's create something that, I don't know, that we can take advantage of this, of all the skill set and all the knowledge of this person. Or is that not really?
I think anything that's going to be client facing, and this is something that I learned a lot through that job experience. It used to be you hired people for their Rolodex, and it's still the same. It's just no longer a Rolodex. It's like a virtual Rolodex. Many of the positions I was considered for were because of my network. The downside to that, though, is very few companies can see the value of the network without the intent of destroying the essence of that network, because they're looking for you to make all these introductions and they want you to immediately go sell, and they want you to like pull in all of these connections that you've worked really hard to create, assuming that it's just a matter of like, you know, kind of the MLM strategy. You call your friends, you call your family, and you make everybody buy the oils or whatever, or Tupperware or bags, or, I mean, right now it's like athletic gear. So the tricky part for me during all of that was trying to sift through that in terms of like, are you really valuing me for what I bring to the table holistically, or are you just trying to tap into my network without regard for my reputation? This particular position was, I don't know. I know that they wanted a background in HR. They wanted somebody with that affluence and influence. But not having it defined ahead of time, I think was tricky to even still, I've been there 6 months now, and I think there's a lot of employees that are still figuring out what I do, myself included. But it's not, I don't think that a lot of the people that I talked to during this particular period were thinking long term. It was like, she's available, what's it going to take to get her here? Because of that, we've got to get that network attached to it. And that's very disinteresting to people that really do have a powerful network, because they don't want to just hand it over to someone and say,
No.
chop it up,
Yeah.
do what you want with it. They
You
get really
you can't do
protective.
that over and over and over again. I mean,
No.
if you not, I don't know how many jobs you've had, but you can't, I mean, how many times can you do that? You can't
Yeah.
do that maybe once every 5 years. I mean, you can't.
Well, I just look at even the two of you and how long I've been connected to each of you in the relationship that we've built over, the course of several years. At this point, I would be comfortable calling you and saying, hey, I need a favor, or I've got something to ask of you. But that's because I've invested however many years in, for you to know who I am and what I'm about, and that I'm not just going to abuse the relationship and take advantage of you, and vice versa. And I think that the amount of time that goes into that, companies that are looking to hire someone to scale their business without regard to the importance to that individual of protecting those relationships, I feel like that's why there's so much turnover in those valuable candidates, is they learn really quickly, sometimes unfortunately after the fact, that, okay, so you don't actually want me for my talents and skill sets, you want me for who I can introduce you to, and once you have that, you don't care about me anymore. So I don't know. This particular company, I think, is I haven't experienced that here. I mean, there's definitely different personalities, and you probably know a lot of the people that I work with better than I do.
Yeah, because aren't you guys competitors?
Yeah, but in a very loving way. I wouldn't.
Well,
be
not
here
you
if
two
it wasn't.
personally.
That's true. I'm not a producer.
The companies.
so-
Let's just, make it a little awkward right now. It just dawned on me.
It's not awkward for me. Is it awkward for you?
Morton was actually my broker for several years.
Oh, good.
All right.
Morton's better.
Oh, snap. You know what? They were better. And then GBS hired me, and now,
I'll
We'll-
say that
we'll let the cards
department,
speak for
that
themselves.
department's better. No, I'm just kidding.
Here's one thing that was funny, though. When I was interviewing with them, and I've shared this story very openly, I had a bad experience with one of their brokers probably a decade ago, like 10 years ago, when I was a very administrative traffic cop HR person. I went out for RFP, was doing a bid, to look at new brokers, and they came in, and I had one bad experience with this broker, and from then on, I was like, I will tell anyone and everyone, never do business. I don't care what broker you hire, don't hire this one. And I was very clear about that even in my interview process. I shared that story. I was like, I don't want to tie my reputation and my name to a company that I've been so vocally opposed to even considering as a broker. But the more people I met, and I also there's a really close tie to the Levitt Group as well. So here's how, this is kind of funny how this went down. There's a nonprofit called Choice Humanitarian, and my last company was an extreme partner of theirs, and they would sponsor 8 employees a year to go on one of these humanitarian expeditions. So I had the opportunity to go to Bolivia, which was amazing. Choice is awesome, and I highly recommend. Another shout out, they're one of the best community partners I've ever seen. So I go on this expedition with a bunch of my colleagues, and while we're there, there's 30 of us. And so we meet a bunch of strangers, and there's a mom with her son, and there's a couple of business associates. Well, one of the people there was Eric Levitt and his wife and one of their daughters. And the thing is, when you're in that situation of literally pooping in a hole next to these people, first of all, your bond is pretty fast and pretty deep. But also, you see people outside of the context of this, right?
Right.
We're business colleagues and associates, and we're friends, but there's still this layer of we know each other as our work selves. And in this particular situation, we got to know each other on a very, very human level, super extreme raw vulnerability, and just experience life. Well, it wasn't until we got back that we realized there was this association, and I got to sit down with Eric as the chairman of the board for GBS. And he spent the time to talk to me about this is we get it. You know, we've experienced some of these things in our past as a company. This is where we're headed. We're on a good path. And just like my first mentor, he sat down, he's like, you're the right person for this role. And here's why. Like, I know you on a layer that is way more than work, LinkedIn, Elisa. Like, I know you. And you're the person to come in and help us do this. I mean, how can you turn that down, right?
Yeah.
Like that, it really meant something to me. And so coming into this organization, eyes wide open, and being a very, very strong vocal, whatever the opposite of advocate is, to now I'm like, I love these people, you know? They're not perfect, and we have some people that I know still have a really, really sour reputation in our market, but I see what they're trying to do, and they're putting enough trust and respect into me to be able to help them get there, that they're doing the work. Like, I see the meat that's needed to make this stick to the bone. So it's really encouraging. I mean, I don't think that there's very many opportunities that you have to go work for a company that you hate and have a changed opinion and like fall in love with them.
That's amazing. That's
I
so
know.
good. Only you. Only you.
I love people. What am I going to say, you know?
Oh.
So I want to know how all of this COVID stuff has been affecting you guys on a human level. Because we talk about how it affects work and, you know, business is down and all that, but really, as far as like how you are showing up as a parent and how you're showing up as a partner and just like a friend, how is it impacting you guys on your psyche?
You know who?
I don't know, dude.
You
Might be
know,
talking
this
to the
is.
wrong
You
two
want to know what's
dudes.
so funny is that Mickey, like, she just kind of turned the tables and started asking us questions.
That's Mickey.
And sure enough, Elise
She
is
went
in
to
here
Bolivia
turning
with
the
me, by the
tables
way.
Yeah, turn the tables.
and just
Oh, yeah,
asking
she
us
did.
questions.
Yeah.
You know, the COVID, it's funny, I'm not bragging, but I remember in my neighborhood, like, this is early on, I remember telling people in my neighborhood, dude, you guys don't, I know you guys don't think this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be a massive deal. Whether it's made up or hype, hysteria, whatever, it's going to be huge. Anyway, I mean, it obviously has been, but like, I don't know, man, Utah County, I mean, I live in Utah County, so we haven't had the same kind of interesting mandates or rules as Salt Lake and some of these other areas. So it's been a little easier in our demographic and where we live. But as far as like, I don't know, I honestly, if I don't talk about it constantly, I am healthier mentally. It's better for me, for my kids, for my wife, and so I learned that early on for sure. I know it's everywhere in the news, but I purposely don't give it more attention than it needs, and I actually try to pull it back as much as possible.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, we take it serious, but, you know, even as an employer and having employees in a company, even I have applied that as well, making sure that they're taken care of and that their needs are met, but not to just be the only topic of discussion all the time. Because there are thousands of other things that are amazing and great and going on, you know, I don't know, it's just, so that's, I don't know if that's kind of what you're looking at, but that's definitely an approach I've taken, and I feel like it's worked, at least
like
for my
that.
family and for the guys and gals that work with us. But
How are you doing, Danny?
I'm so.
dude, he's struggling, man. He's struggling.
I was
Rocking in the
crying
corner.
today.
That's just because you were so excited to see me.
Yes, it was tears of joy.
Tears of joy.
couldn't
He's
wait.
actually pissed off. Did you? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's honestly been fine for. I mean, it's weird, right? It's weird for everybody, but it's funny. Like, I get so, especially when my kids were still in school.
Yeah.
And this is every parent that I've talked to, right? Like, you're sick of school. You're sick of being around your kid like all day. I mean, that's just honest. But at the same time, it's been awesome because you're around your kids more. You start doing more things. Like, there's a lot more family time. There's neighbors that I have never talked to that we're friends now. So there's like a lot of little things like that. Like, I mean, everybody in Utah has been riding their freaking mountain bikes.
I know.
But like,
oh my gosh, trying to do trail running right now. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
all of a
it's
sudden
impossible.
everyone's an outdoor enthusiast.
yeah.
So.
But it's awesome because when this hit, though, it was like we all went and got new bikes because it had been years since we got one. And we go like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. There's a lot of good things that came out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's been weird, but Like
How hard
from
do you
like
think it is, like, for
my
the
psyche,
companies?
like it's been fine.
Because you always hear about, oh, well, Google announced this, and Twitter announced this, and Facebook announced this, and they're always like, kind of the ones that set the bar for the rest of us, right? And I think of that in terms of the Utah businesses, of how difficult it must be to be an organization that is high in the spotlight, that is known for employer brand or whatever, and the shitty position that they're in of having to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah, they are.
Because it's like, if they don't do it, they're going to be completely crucified.
They're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, they are. They're like, okay, we're so big, we have to make these decisions. It's like they want to tell. This is what I believe. They personally tell themselves, we're doing this for our employees and the benefit of the company and their health and everything. I think that's bullshit for the most part. I'm sure there's some people that have genuine concern for the people they work with and they love them. But they're so big, they have to make those decisions, because if they don't, then they feel like their brand will get just creamed.
Yeah.
And people won't want to work there. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, well, what? And then worst case scenario, we have 500 employees or 1,500 employees, and 30 or 20, like a small number, get COVID within a month. Guess who's in the news? I mean, it literally is one of those, and it's one of those things. Like, I have a great big company is awesome, and we have a small company. It's much easier to manage that, and to look everybody in the eye all the time, and to be able to make decisions based off of them and not based off of what they're going to think about VicTig or whatever company.
Yeah.
A little easier, but you kind of feel bad for them too.
I do.
I think that they're also giving lip service. The fact that they're saying, I've heard this so many times, that the wave of the future is people working from home. I think they're saying that because
that's what everybody else is saying.
That's what everybody else is saying, and everybody's doing that
Echo
now.
chamber.
But I tell you that most like maybe even HR probably, and owners of the company and managers, they're like, we love them in the office. We want them in the office. Like, we don't want them all working from home. We don't. But they don't. They're afraid to say that right now.
Employees have never begged to work from home exclusively.
No.
What they've been saying, which I think has been miscommunicated by this year, is we want the flexibility.
The flexibility. That's the word. It's flexible.
Yeah.
We
And
want,
it's funny,
we
like
want
every-
the option to do that.
Yeah. Every HR representative that we've had in here to ask them, talk to them about it, the thing that they say they miss the most is the people.
The culture isn't the same. You can't
Yeah,
have
it's not the
culture.
same.
You can't have culture from 40% of your workforce being isolated in their house. Impossible.
But at the same time, there's a company, Mickey and I have, we've worked with them quite a bit. It's a company called Nimble. From inception, they've been remote. So it's kind of like a now CFO. They do accounting and finance, and they're all over the world. They happen to be headquartered in Utah, but none of them work together. And so building a culture off of that, I think it's worked for them because they've done it, that they've built everything around that. Yeah.
Yes.
And looking at the sustainability of the way that we have had to respond in this environment to just trying to keep the continuity of business through remote work, all of us went into it thinking, okay, this is temporary. It's going to be a month. And now it's another month. And now it's another month.
Yeah.
And now it's been almost a year. Well, no, it hasn't been. But it's looking like the projections are going to be it's about a year. The impact that that's having on mental health alone is, I won't drop the F-bomb. I won't. But I almost did. Self-corrected. That's way
we
more.
wouldn't have believed
Good
it.
save. Good save.
Yeah, this is not
That's way more impactful.
My editing is not good enough to bleep, so if you say it, it's on.
I always joke. I'm allowed one F-bomb per 30-minute meeting. So.
That's good. I like that. That's an
I think I
F
get
card,
like-
dude. You got
I
the
think
F
I get
card
3 of
all the
those.
time. But it's forced companies to build the infrastructure to support that because they didn't have that before.
Right.
And now that they can, and then they can attract other personalities or other people to be flexible. Some people don't ever want to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Yeah.
Some people want to, very, very few, I believe. And then there's that middle ground. It's like, yeah, maybe a couple days from home. If I earn the trust and the way the culture is, let me work from home, get my shit done. Let me prove
Well,
that.
yes, but I
mean,
also think even there's a subset of people that have been thinking they want to work from home.
Now they don't.
But yeah, it's like now when you see what it actually is, I've had the benefit of having this kind of flexibility for many years in my career. So I know what it's like when I stay home and work versus what it's like when I go to the office and work.
Yeah, same.
It's lovely. It's wonderful and beautiful to have the option. If I'm not feeling well, if my kid has a fever, if I want to go to the gym that morning and I don't have time to shower, like it's really nice to be able to still get my work done and also take care of my life, right? But working from home is not what I think a lot of people romanticize it to be. Because I know when I first got started in work, I was like, oh, if I could just stay home, then, you know, I could like have a job and also raise my kids. No. Because raising kids is a job.
Oh, yeah.
Just like teaching is a job. And all of a sudden we're expected to be all of those things. And I have so much compassion for HR people right now because nobody's taking care of them. Their job is to respond to all of this stuff. Yeah. But nobody is really showing up for them to say, how are you doing? How's your
Hopefully
EAP
they got great
utilization?
support from home or like I mean, you're right. They got to almost like take care of each other.
Yeah. And even then, like I am not in an HR practitioner role, but I still have my, you know, I'm the head of Utah SHRM. So I have a board of 32 volunteers, most of which are HR professionals inside their organizations. And they're not just tired, they're I mean, it's palatable. Like when we have meetings, you can just feel
you guys got overworked again. I mean, it's like you're overworked, underappreciated, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And then COVID hits. You guys.
They get a moment to shine, though.
They get a moment to shine, but dude, they were double time. They were like I felt like they were working extra.
Yeah.
More concerned about than they were before of people, making sure people are okay. More than they were before. It's been, I can't imagine an absolute strain on their.
I was talking to one of my directors one-on-one, and she, you know, she has a pretty large population, but I was just checking in, seeing how she was doing, and she told me that, well, it seems to be starting off better. We've only had 3 suicides this month, and I was just like,
for real?
Wow, you know, like I'm not dealing with that, but the stress and pressure, because you sort of have to in HR put on the blinders of emotion sometimes to get through things, right? And when an employee passes away, whether it's through suicide or, I don't know, like any condition, when somebody passes away, there's this ripple of transaction that has to happen. Like there's certain things that you need to do. Just like if you're planning a funeral, like you're still emotional about it, but there's still decisions that need to be made and you have to kind of get in that headspace. So imagining like the complexity of that, I go to therapy every 2 weeks. And I'm not an HR practitioner right now, but so much of my therapy sessions have been centered around, I don't know how to show up for people right now because I'm not well. I'm not in a place where I can be that for other people. And like you guys, like there's been a lot of benefits that have come out of these circumstances, but HR, in addition to in Utah specifically, so we started with the COVID stuff, and there's all these new laws that are coming out that they have to be able to like figure out and interpret and then put in practice. Then you have the earthquakes, which is already business disruption because you stack that on top of people's mental health already struggling.
Yep.
And then you stack on top of that like all the racial tension that we're experiencing in Utah and the polarization of that. And then you tie in politics and then like the freaking mask or no mask conversations.
And the earthquakes.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell? Earthquakes.
It is layers upon layers.
Layers upon layers.
Yeah, and I look at these people and think about how, I think it's why HR sometimes gets that reputation of being cold. You know, because at some point, you have to be able to turn it off. Otherwise, you'll bleed your heart out. You won't have anything left for anyone because you care so much, and then you sort of become this like puddle mess of inability to move forward because you have nothing left to give because you yourself are not having your cup filled, and so there's no capital in your bank to be able to expel to others. And I see that happening more and more as this continues to progress, and now we're getting ready to go into the school year. And part of the reason I was interested in how you guys are doing is I think you guys know me pretty well. I'm not a raging feminist. I'm not burning my bra or anything. But I do think that this COVID has been much more difficult for women that work to navigate. Not for any reason that it's harder or worse, but I think that because we just naturally have this compassion for people and want to have this harmony and taking care of our kids and all of that, like Men tend to approach this type of disruption in routine as I can single focus. Like I can come into this and I'm just going to have to control what I can control. But women, because like we take off our blinders and we can see 180 degrees, it just is so much more noise coming at us that I think it is a lot harder for them to emotionally like just channel what's happening to I need to go get some stuff done. So it's been really interesting as I've asked that question, because most men give me the responses you do.
Yeah, no, I mean the thing is like my wife, I mean she doesn't have a profession. I mean she stays home, but it's been 10 times harder this year. Number one, because the summer has been twice as long, and you are now even 10 times more sick and tired of your kids. And then on top of that, then it's kind of like their bubble gets burst when the school districts decide, like modified schooling,
modified school, push it back another
push
week.
It back, or like we're only going to noon every day, whatever. We're going twice a day and online. It was like the mothers, whether they worked or they didn't, they were praying and hoping that they could just get their kids back and away like they were before.
When you can't
and then it was another blow.
right?
Then it was another blow.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then you couldn't go vacation. You can't do vacations. It's been nuts. Like
It has been nice to see everyone get back outside, though. I mean, selfishly, that's already where I connect. Like, that's my spirituality, is like getting out into the world in nature. But that it's pissed me off a little bit, because now everybody's like getting into my space. I'm like, this is my mountain.
It's true. You got to pick your times.
A lot of people out there.
Fair weather friends.
Here's the one thing to remember: not many people are up when the sun comes up.
That's true.
They aren't.
That's
Like
true.
we've noticed that. Like we go biking, we on purpose. We are there many times when it's just light enough to see.
Yep.
No one's there. By the time we get done,
So busy.
Parking lot's full. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, you pick your times, but yeah, you're right. It is. Everybody is out in my. I call it my space. Like I live to be in nature, into the woods, in the mountains, and I wish I could be there more. But dude,
Are you still CrossFitting?
Yeah.
So I'm not to that level of crazy, but I joined a gym.
Oh boy.
I
Which
know.
gym?
I'm a Vasa gal now.
Oh hell.
Look, when you live in Davis
Oh,
County,
hell.
your options are
Gosh,
limited.
dude.
But here's the thing.
No, they're not.
I didn't even I hate gyms. So there was like, I had this conversation with my therapist, and I'm like, it's getting to a level of, by my next appointment, if I'm not feeling better, I might need medication. And on my drive home, I was like, I really don't want to get on medication. So like one tiny sliver layer above how awful medication would be was like, well, I guess I could join a gym and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Because I'm just burnt out on running and it's too hot outside.
Yeah.
So I joined the gym, and now I Zumba
Good.
and I cycle.
Yes.
Zumba's still a thing?
I thought
Zumba's still a
Zumba-
thing.
Okay.
I didn't really get it
Really?
though. I thought it was just like aerobics, right? Like step.
Yeah.
I heard it's pretty intense. It's pretty
It's
tough.
like salsa
Yeah.
dancing, and I have zero rhythm. So when I do Zumba, it kind of looks like I'm stomping on an anthill while I'm
and you
swatting
go to
flies.
the front of the class. Tell
No.
me you go to the front
I
of the
don't.
class.
I'm a side
Oh,
gal
you're the-
because I
okay.
want to be close to my water.
What about have you done high fitness?
No.
Oh,
I don't know how similar that is, but it's like the same, right? It's like dancing, moving.
It's
I don't know.
It's too
It was
hard.
It was the second. It was Zumba after. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, they're all kind of funny things. But Zumba's been around a long time.
Zumba has
Zumba
been
was
around.
huge, and it was like, okay, you didn't hear about it. They did a video game, I think.
I think
and
my-
then all of a sudden, high fitness, that's full effect.
I think my mom used to do Zumba.
Yeah, my wife used to do Zumba.
All right, I know you're trying to offend me. It's not working, because I'll
Okay.
say this.
It's good though.
It's
I'm
working.
glad
Good.
I'm glad you're going to the gym. One aspect of gym is, and Voss is hard to get this, is the, what's the right word? I'm just gonna say it's not the social structure, but you have to. It's hard to meet new people at Vasa.
I don't have any interest in meeting people
I
in
know,
the gym.
but here's where I'm going with it. Because if you go to a gym, whatever gym that may be, and you meet new people, and those people go at the same time, and they kind of have similar things in common,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, you kind of have this buy-in to this little, in some type of group that maybe you find, and then you feel a little more obligated, and then you want to go see them, and that will keep you at the gym longer than it would otherwise. If you go by yourself, you put your AirPods in and you're just chilling, cruising, not that you do this. I know you do the Zumba and there's probably some cool people, but I feel like that is worse mental battle than, because you're forcing yourself to go to the gym. I don't know, like, but when you have people that you want to see, and usually that happens, I think, are in the smaller gyms, not the bigger ones.
It's an
and I don't
accountability
care. I'm not an
thing.
advocate for like CrossFit. Any gym that is a little smaller setting that you have that type of that social structure is.
Well, my onboarding
best.
with the gym, I mean, I signed up online the day before because it was that thing in my head of like medication, gym. So I signed up and went in the next day. I had no onboarding. Like, they didn't know who the hell I was. And I was like, okay, here's my card, I guess. And then where's the room for Zumba? So, plus, like, they had limited hours because of COVID. And so they weren't fully opened yet. All of the locker room stuff was closed. So it was kind of a weird time to join the gym anyway. But I will say this, because of COVID, you have to register on their app to, like, which class or time frame that you're coming in, because they can only have so many people. That alone has created accountability for me, because if I don't show up, I get a demerit.
Which is interesting,
like,
because you know what's funny is Vasa doesn't want you to show up.
Really?
They don't.
Oh.
They want to sell us.
No.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying you,
Like
not
me
you personally.
personally?
No, they love you. I'm sure they love you. But I'm saying in general, what's interesting is Vasa, they want to sell as many memberships as they can, and they hope that people just don't show up. Because if everybody that had a
Your gym's not
membership
crowded.
showed up to
Yeah.
Vasa, you could not work out. You couldn't.
That's true.
But not where the hell are we going? Why we're
I don't
talking? Oh, Vasa. Oh yeah. We're talking about gyms here and
Yeah.
other odd things.
All
Yeah.
right.
And
all
we got to
right.
get back on track because this is the best part.
All right.
Well, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to share on a positive note?
Are you involved in Silk
HR
on
related,
Slopes?
anything?
Yes.
Sorry, we just talked over each other. Sorry, Dan.
That's okay. Sort of. I'm not a member, but I attend some of their events. Positive things that I want to share.
Give me something. Give me some ending.
Ooh, you want a good soundbite?
Just
I
like
don't
a
know.
good,
Yeah,
just
just
anything that.
Like, give us a T-shirt, like something we could put on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I have that kind of wisdom to impart, but I think that, I've definitely learned a lot in my career. I've learned a lot from you guys, where I try to instill the best positivity with people through all of this is just remember the influence that you have on others. And I don't think that any one of us is living in a vacuum right now, even though we feel like it. So making sure that you're continuing to foster your relationships and reach out to your people and check in on them, but you don't need to make it like a super weird conversation of like holding hands and staring deeply into their eyes. Just talk to people, continue to talk to people, and not only build and foster your relationships, but remember that life is continuing and it's still wonderful. And like you said earlier, there's still so much positive things that are happening in the world right now. And it's very difficult to not pay attention to all the chaos and the yuckiness and the ugliness and the downsides of humanity that we're all experiencing. But you become what you surround yourself with. And I think if you look for those positive things and continue to just focus on what is bringing you joy, not only are you going to get through this, but you'll probably find out that you're going to grow a lot as an individual in that process.
Boom. Focus on what brings you joy.
And I'll add one last thing. This is what you said. My dad, he's passed away. He was an amazing person. One of the things that he taught me was, and this goes hand in hand with what you're saying, and maybe it's 70-30 right now, but 80% of what happens to us every day, every month, our lives is positive. 20% is the negative. The problem is the 20% gets 80% of, and we know this, right? Media, everything. For example, I'm watching TV last night, and someone makes a comment. We were watching like this high school football game, and the parents are in the stands with masks, and they're grouped together and they're spread out, and they make the comments like, "Oh, that's so stupid. Like, this pisses me off." And I just had to say, like, this is amazing. They've figured it out. Like, families are there watching their kids play football, and it's this mindset. I don't know. I took from what you just said, kind of this 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
There's so many good things going on. It's okay to talk about the 80 or the 20 bad, 20% of the bad, but Look at it through a different lens.
Yeah. Yeah. Choose the fucks you give.
Dude, there it is. There it is.
I can't edit that. Maybe
My
I
mom will
can,
be
but
so
I
proud.
won't. Let me put it that way. I won't edit it.
No way in hell.
Okay. So we start. Do you know how the end of this works?
Walk me through it.
Would you rather?
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. Last week I tried a new one out. I liked it,
Yeah.
so I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
I have 3 songs here. This is why I texted you earlier, but your response was useless.
I
She
know,
was
I'm
probably
vanilla.
driving around in a circle trying to find it.
She might have
Probably
been.
wasn't looking at her phone.
This one, I think the first one's a softball. I'm just going to give you the lyrics. You got to tell me the song.
Okay.
Okay? I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Life is demanding without understanding.
I saw the sign.
Do you know the artist? The first one, it's a card.
From the 90s. Heart? Wait,
Nope.
what did you say? It's a card?
Yeah, playing card.
It's a playing card.
Ace of spades.
No.
Ace.
Close.
Yes, ace.
Oh, base.
Ace of base. There we go. Okay.
Ace of base.
Ace of base.
I'm renaming them to Ace of
Okay.
spades.
All right, perfect. Okay, ace of base. All right, next one. Up in the club. Just broke up. I'm doing my own little thing. You decided to dip, but now you want to trip because another brother noticed me. I'm up on him, he up on me. Don't pay him any attention. I cried my
You
tears
just read it.
for
So
3 good years.
That's poetic.
it
You
is.
can't be mad at me.
It's like you're reading to your kids.
All right, so.
I have a guess. If she.
I mean, it sounds like it's a female based on the words.
Yes.
Cardi B?
Nope. I'm going to give you one more hint. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. This hand.
Oh.
Really, the ring finger right here.
Oh. Beyonce?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Single ladies.
I was going to ask Shakira, but
Okay.
I
Single
should
ladies.
probably disclose to you guys as much intelligence as you give me credit for. I know actors and actresses by their character names in movies. I am really, really bad at like performance artists and remembering their names.
This will be good then. You've done pretty
I'm
good
already
though.
embarrassing
Yeah.
myself.
All right, last one. Well, I started out down a dirty road, started out all alone, and the sun went down as I crossed the hill, and the town lit up, the world got still. Now listen to this one. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing.
It sounds like something Taylor
Learning
Swift
to
would do.
fly,
Older.
Older.
hardest
Female?
thing.
Male? Is it
Heartbreaker.
country?
Heartbreaker.
No.
TP. And the Heartbreakers.
Ain't got wings.
Tom Petty.
Tom Petty.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah, this is embarrassing.
It's
I
not
don't-
embarrassing. You
I know the
That's
name
good. That's
Tom
hard.
Petty.
Well, when he reads it, like he's reading out of a children's book.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't.
how
no,
is it
even
supposed
if
to-
you were to like, hey, can you name a song that so and so sang? I'm terrible at that. I
can't
save
I
my
can't
mental
sing 'em.
capacity for other things. No,
Yeah.
I like
Sing 'em.
I
Dude,
like
next
the
time, maybe
poetic
I sing 'em.
approach.
Just broke it.
Next
Okay.
time I'll sing them. How about that? Instead of you reading. I mean, that'd be a little easier, but.
Okay.
I like the poetry. You know who would be
It
really
is
good at this is Carl. Carl knows because
Carl.
he's like side DJ. He's
Yes, yeah.
amazing with music.
Oh, we're gonna stump him. We'll have it when we get him on because he will be on. We're gonna stump him.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather's?
Okay,
The only rule is you have to answer the question.
It'll
done.
be one or
Okay.
the other.
All right. We
Should I
have
give her
one.
the
I've
we
been
have,
to a
original?
slumber party before. I
we
know.
have one
Do you
that
know
you
who
have to
Tiger
ask.
Woods is?
Yes.
All right, good.
Thank
Barry
you.
Bonds. Barry Bonds.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Okay. Yes.
Steroids. Okay.
Yes.
Home run champ. He hit a lot of home runs.
Okay.
So would you rather take a Tiger Woods driver swing to the shin? He's going to swing as hard as he can with the driver right to the
It's
shin.
gonna break my shin. Okay, got it.
Or Barry Bonds' home run swing to the middle of your back.
Oh, shin easily.
Okay.
That's an
That
easy
was
one.
quick.
Well, because the back. Here's the thing: if you mess up your back, you're done.
You're done.
Like you're done. I worked for a spinal infusion company, and I know what that looks like.
Okay.
A shin, you know,
You give
even
me
if I had to,
leg.
yeah, like if I had to even lose it below the knee, there's Paralympics, but your back's gone, you're done.
You're done.
Toast.
I like
Yeah.
it. Okay. Easy.
Quick. Would you rather eat a whole jar of mayonnaise or a whole tub of butter?
Butter.
Butter?
Did you ever lick the like margarine and butter things when
No.
you were a kid? I think I had a salt deficiency.
You know what I used to do, which was really weird it was really weird. I got a side note. Piece of white bread,
Okay.
butter, sugar.
Oh, that's not weird. I
It's
did
not?
cinnamon
Okay.
and sugar. I did
That's-
cinnamon.
I
and
wouldn't
sugar.
know, but it wasn't
Basically-
toast, though. It
Basically,
was
an
just-
No, it's
uncooked
all right.
cinnamon toast.
But it wasn't cinnamon. It was just sugar. Like I would literally,
Well, yeah.
because we had this big tub of sugar, and I would hold the bread over, and I would scoop it, and I would just do it, and the excess would fall back in.
Yeah.
And then I would just eat butter and sugar.
I don't think that's too
If
weird.
that-
We
if
used
that
to like
is the secret to
we would
being
tear up little bits
one
of
of the best
bread.
athletes in Utah history.
Oh, there you go.
There you
It
go.
is a
Dude, I'm
secret.
gonna-
You've
dude,
got like
feed
all
your
your major
kids
food
that.
groups.
Yeah. We'll
We
see.
were super poor growing up, so we didn't even like bread was a luxury. I mean, we were the type that lived on like powdered milk and
Hold on. Well, bread was a lot. What did you have besides bread?
we didn't have bread. I mean,
You
'cause
didn't
bread
even make
was-
your own bread? Like cook your own bread?
No, not really. My mom, when my parents divorced, she was single mom in it for a while, and she also was a nurse. So she was working like 12-hour days, and we were kind of doing our own thing.
Yeah.
So I ate a lot of macaroni noodles with margarine because butter was way too expensive. So we'd have margarine with like salt and pepper, and now that's my comfort food. I eat a lot of
Mac
that.
and cheese.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good.
No cheese.
No cheese.
No cheese.
Mac
Just
and
mac and
margarine.
Come on.
mac and margarine. Mac and
Only when
margarine.
the Bishop Storehouse had cheese available would we get cheese.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Would you rather pee every time you stand up or poop every time you sit down?
Oh, God. It seems like a really easy one to answer, especially as a female. I'll take peeing all day long.
Because it dries.
Every time you
dries
stand up.
quicker.
It's
Okay.
true. And even like the long-term smell of like how it settles into your overall
Yeah,
funk.
you can cover it up easier. You can't cover up poop.
It's not like cat pee.
Nah.
I mean, you're never getting that out.
Then you can drink a ton of water, and then it's just like watered down pee all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not stinky pee.
I like how you think through.
Yeah, that's not stinky pee.
Sometimes
Just
you
watered down.
gotta think through these sometimes.
Seriously.
Would you rather be a genius that nobody believes or an idiot that everybody believes?
I feel like I'm already in that situation.
A genius, a genius no one
Nobody
believes.
believes.
Or an idiot that everybody believes.
I actually think that's a pretty easy one to answer because you know the
no.
saying ignorance is bliss? If you think that what you're saying is intelligent, but it's actually not, and you are an idiot, you don't know any different. But if you're a genius and you know you're right, and you have like this concept of linear thought that it's really, really frustrating and infuriating when you're trying to tell somebody else that's just not getting it. That's basically social media right now.
Yeah.
So I think I would choose to be the idiot.
You can't,
'Cause
you
I would
can't
go
ruin
insane.
society, though. If society believes idiots, that's a problem. Like,
Would you rather is going deep right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
but
are.
you're damned if you do,
I'm
damned
the-
if you
I'm
don't.
a
Because if you're genius and nobody
genius that no one
believes you,
believes. That's just, you gotta, I don't know.
Okay.
I think I would do a disservice to the whole society if I was just.
if nobody believed you though, and you were a genius, you're not.
But
having
it's
any
better.
impact.
It's better than everybody believing you're an idiot and you're telling lies and shit, and then
But
everybody
you don't know
believes
that
you.
because you're an idiot.
I know, but it's still, you know, it's bad. Now I know it now before I choose. Then I gotta choose, and then I'm an idiot.
You're gonna be the one arguing with me, but everyone's
I
gonna choose
know.
to believe me.
I'm the idiot right now. Everybody believes.
Would you rather have a runny nose for the rest of your life or have to cough after every word?
I have a weird thing
What?
about coughing. A really weird, because I think when I was younger, my mom has a cough that just grates on my nerves, and so now I have this huge aversion to coughing. So for sure, the runny nose.
Runny nose.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just like,
Every
Every word.
dude, there's no
Would
way. That
you
there's no way
rather-
that that's even possible.
no.
Runny nose your whole life.
Both would
It's
suck.
like how runny.
It's a runny nose. I
I know.
don't know.
Can you like get a little like?
Do you have? Is
One
it
of
just
those
every
things.
time, all the time? Or
It's
just,
just, it's just running. You got a runny nose, man.
you sniffle. That's the good thing.
It's like those
you can
people
sniff.
that just like for their whole lives just sweat. That's basically it's just sweat coming out of your nose.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I got a great joke after the podcast. I'll tell you.
Would you rather have your brain transplanted into a robot's body or an animal's body of your choice?
Well, robot.
Robot?
Well, hold on. Let me think about the animal. Do I
You
get
get
to,
to, you get to choose your
the
animal. Yeah, any animal you want.
It would have to be something with opposable thumbs. Because I'd be really pissed if I was an animal and I couldn't use my thumbs.
So you're gonna be like,
Sloth.
But I couldn't
A monkey.
communicate though, and with a robot, I'd be more likely to be able to like.
Dude, but your brain. Hold on.
human
No.
function.
You got
Oh,
your
and I
brain.
don't have to shit and pee. So
You have your brain. Your brain's going in this animal.
yeah.
yeah.
You possibly could. You could possibly figure out how to communicate with the limitations of the animal body.
Yeah, but with a robot, I could do the same thing and choose my voice box to boot. I think I'm gonna go robot.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a little bit morbid. Would you rather die by a zombie attack or a shark attack?
Well, zombies go after the brains.
Like, you've seen Walking
I don't
Dead
know,
when they
but
attack
they
and
go
they're just yelling and they're all
Yeah, but they're slow.
eating their necks and
And
Shark?
shark, I feel like they're gonna rip apart my
which
limbs.
shark though? We're talking great white.
Choose your shark.
whale shark.
No, what's the
Yeah, great white.
great white? Okay.
Great white.
Is it
Jaws. You got
You're gonna
some
experience
jaws.
a lot more pain, I think, leading up to the death with a shark than you are a zombie. Zombie, you just kind of like detach your brain cord and you're done.
Hopefully.
Is that how it works?
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought they would.
I've seen the movies.
I'm just going completely off.
Every
of
one is the aerial shot pulling up. There's a face. They're yelling. They're in pain. And there's
They're-
just taking
yeah.
bites everywhere.
Yeah, but then you
know.
come back as a zombie,
That's true.
You're
I could live
infected.
forever.
Yeah.
and then you're zombie. Ah, jeez.
Oh, I become
That's a good
immortal if I'm a zombie.
Shark bait. That's what I am.
Hoo ha ha.
Hoo ha ha.
Would you rather drink a glass of expired milk, like chunky expired milk, or eat a bowl of moldy strawberries?
Gross. I can't do the milk thing. I don't really like milk anyway, so I'd probably have to do the moldy strawberries. I would just tell myself that I was eating, like, I had pneumonia, and so I just needed to take my moldy pills that kind of tasted like strawberry.
Yuck. Okay.
You'd rather have the milk?
I don't know. I feel like I get it down quicker. Just like,
I don't think
know.
no, because you can't. You're gonna have to chew some of that.
But the
Hopefully
rule
not.
is though, if you throw up, you got to re-drink.
Got to do it again.
You can't just drink it and then throw it up. Like you whatever it is,
You
you
throw it
got to
up.
consume it and keep it down. So
Yeah.
that's the caveat. You got to.
Yeah. Okay.
You wouldn't do the milk.
Would you rather have to read every word of the terms and conditions when you're prompted to, right? You update your whatever, you get terms and conditions, right?
For any contract I ever
Anything,
signed.
right? Everything.
Website, everything.
Or you have to ask your parents for permission every time you have sex.
Sex.
Okay. I figured that'd be an easy one. I'd take that one.
Yeah, for sure. Can you just do it via text?
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's gonna make my parents more uncomfortable than me. So.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would.
Would you rather randomly stub your toe, get a brain freeze, or bite your cheek 3 times a day?
Say it
Brain
again.
freeze.
So either stub your toe, brain freeze, or bite your cheek 3 times a day. It's all random. But yeah, 3 times. What did you pick?
Brain freeze.
Brain freeze? Like an intense brain freeze, not like a little like, I'm good. Like
Yeah, I still think so.
brain freeze, okay.
Because the others, like
they
they're
can-
long-term wounds.
Yeah,
That especially
like
if I have to do it
stub your
every
toe
day.
3 times a day, dude. You're gonna lose a toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather eat poo flavored chocolate or chocolate flavored poo?
Isn't that the same thing? Is it the texture of it?
Well, no, you have a piece of chocolate, right? You got a Hershey's bar
Yeah.
that tastes like poo. Okay, or you have
A piece
a piece of poo.
It tastes
Yeah.
just
That tastes
like,
like
a Hershey's
chocolate.
bar.
Of course. Well, that seems like
But-
a no-brainer.
Everybody, how do I want to say it? Everybody knows.
That I'm eating poo.
Yeah. They don't know that
So
it
it's not like
tastes.
you're in
They don't
private.
know that it tastes like chocolate, but they know that you're eating. They see it and they think, "God, Elisa's eating shit again."
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that would deter me, really.
And
Okay.
poo has all the. It's not like this poo is really like sanitized and. This
Still,
is just,
I could
this is
capitalize
poo.
on this though. Like, I could make it into a YouTube channel. I've seen the movies. Just saying.
Okay.
I might be able to profit on that. Nobody's gonna pay to see me eat a Hershey bar.
That's true.
It's
And they
true.
might not believe you that it tastes like poo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's like an Emperor's New Clothes thing and only I'm the one that tastes the poo and they taste it.
Are you on the internet a lot?
Um,
I mean, do you have to be for work? Like, do you like
Yeah,
social
I think
media,
so.
all that kind of stuff?
yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask you. If you're not, then it didn't really matter.
Oh,
But
okay.
would you rather gain 10 pounds or be banned from the internet for a month?
10 pounds at my current weight? That is a tough one. Probably the internet.
Taking the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a vanity play.
Okay. I like it.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's
no
tough.
internet.
Okay, last one. This one's deep.
Okay, I can go deep.
Got to think about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button in your life?
Pause.
That was quick. That wasn't even that. Yeah. What a stupid question.
Dude, yeah, that wasn't deep at all.
Because I don't
No, it
really,
really
like,
wasn't.
I think once you get in the mindset of, oh, I need to fix that, or oh, I need to correct that, it's a really damaging place to be.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How long can you, what's the rewind hit? You know, like when you watch something online where it's like 15
30
seconds
seconds
back,
only.
or
Sounds like a
is
Twilight
this
Zone
like
episode.
in life? Is this like, is the rewind a day? Or
I'm
is
gonna
it
say
like
a
an
day.
hour?
I'm gonna say a day.
So the
A
rewind,
rewind
button
for
is
a day, and a pause.
and a pause is just how long can I pause?
A day.
Yeah, this sounds like psychological thriller stuff, and I think as soon as you go down the rewind path,
Oh my
it
gosh,
ends up
though.
being
Oh,
Twilight
dude, you
Zone.
ever seen
Glass
Back to the
Mirror.
Future 2? When Marty gives the sports almanac and he's trying
Yes.
to go back.
Yeah.
And
And look
Almanac.
at the chaos that it
no,
caused.
but the problem is there's a book.
Yeah.
I just get to watch sporting events, rewind a day.
Go
and
bet on them.
I just work from home, make money on sporting events.
Yeah, but then like, what purpose do you bring to your
Then
life?
I
in
can
that,
give
though?
to the hungered
Oh,
children.
baloney.
And,
Baloney.
yeah, yes.
So
I'll
money,
build a,
See,
no,
money
I'll
buys
build a
your
hotel and a
happiness.
casino just like Biff, and I'll ruin the world. Okay, that's probably what will happen.
See, here I am wanting to rewind so I can make money, and Brent wants to rewind so he can help.
Yeah,
Children
I
in
just wanna help,
poverty.
I want to help. Yeah, I want to help
And
the
apparently
children.
build a high rise with a
Yeah,
hot
I could
tub
rewind, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I can prevent COVID. I don't know. I mean,
maybe.
maybe.
I love
Maybe.
it.
You only
That's
have
it.
a day though. That feels like it's going to be an episode of 24, and you have like 24
I
hours
know,
to
dude,
figure it
but
out.
Jack Bauer was so badass.
Please.
Is.
Yeah.
He's in.
'Cause
I
he's
mean, not
still
Jack
really-
Bauer, but you know he's in Kiefer. He's in. They made a new Fugitive.
Kiefer's so hot.
What?
They have
Hold
a
on,
new
say that
Fugitive.
again. The movie?
It's like a series, but
A
it's,
series? The
I
one-armed
think it's
man?
based off of.
Is he running?
Do they
No,
have one-armed
he's
man in
Oh,
it?
he's Tommy
Jack-
Lee.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm watching.
He's chasing.
That. I'm watching that for sure.
Anyways,
We'll have to discuss
Done.
it on the next one.
that's it.
That was good.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You're
much.
awesome. You're amazing. We appreciate you
I
coming
don't know
on.
why it took you so long to invite me, but
Well,
I'll tell
were,
you.
But you were the first on our list.
You really
Does that
were.
have
You
anything
really
to do with
were,
GPS?
actually.
What?
Does that have anything to do with GPS?
No.
Man, maybe. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Looking into the camera.